Hello, friends. How are you doing? The great information as of yesterday for all of us is to know that finally tariffs are here. The American government has decided to put tariff on three major economies of the world, starting with China, Mexico, and Canada. Well, Mexico and Canada are in the neighborhood of the United States of America, and they are fairly small economies. They don't have too much impact globally. They don't have a global product which is consumed globally. But China is a big one because this increased tariffs are going to impact the supply chain of China. Especially if you look at the large markets like United States, when they are increasing the tariffs, the Chinese business will come under severe pressure. And how much pressure? We are expecting as much as increase by 25%, which is a very steep increase of all the import products coming from these three locations. Now, what will happen? All these three countries will impose the similar tariffs on the American products which these countries are importing. Now, again, China is not affected here because China is considered as the big importer of products, and also importers of metals and other ores. So in this arena, China is safe. However, lot of imports are made by the Canadian and Mexican businesses. So initially, there was some time given for these businesses to find alternatives in case the American products becomes much more expensive, which is becoming in this case. And therefore, now, as of yesterday, this has become a reality. The extra imposition of this tariff, which will burden the supply chain, it is estimated that it is equal to about $247 billion. $247 billion that has to be added. Now, it is not a small amount, it's a huge amount, huge burden on the supply chain. Somehow, the Americans must get $247 billion from right now three countries, which is Canada, China, and Mexico. Right? So, businesses need to generate that extra $247 billion. And which are the industry which are majorly affected? Major affected. I mean, it is going to affect a lot of industries, including mobile phones and other things, whatever is being imported. However, the major impact will come into cars industry because coming from India, I know there are at least 30 car manufacturers in India. Many are Indian origin, they manufacture Indian cars, but there are a lot of manufacturers which actually import the cars. And in order to save the tariffs, they actually import the cars in a semi knockdown form, which is they just assemble it. They get all the parts and they assemble the car here and sell it. So you have Ford, you have Mercedes, you have all kinds of brands which are Morris Garage. All kinds of foreign cars are being assembled and sold here in India. Now all of these cars will be much more expensive because of the tariffs, global tariffs. Supply chain will also increase. I mean, one price if you disturb here and there, it will have an impact like a snowball. So all of these imported cars will get more expensive, right? So the car industry is going to be impacted in a very big way. Now, India may not be so badly affected because India has internal industry. There are a lot of big brands. In fact, the largest car manufacturers, two largest car manufacturers in India are the Indian. They manufacture Indian cars. So I don't think there will be a major impact. However, if you look at the countries who do not have the internal industry for manufacturing cars, they will be highly affected. Especially Mexico and Canada, they will be affected. I mean, China again will not be affected here. If the car industry is getting affected, definitely auto parts, because even the auto parts are also getting imports from America. If it is Ford or companies like that, Chrysler, somebody is buying those cars in Canada and Mexico, anywhere in the world, you would need the spare parts. So even that industry will get affected in a very big way. What about others? Metals, because when the Americans are imposing tariff on Chinese are going to do a reciprocal thing, and therefore China is one of the top players in metals export, because there are big mines there in China. There is a complete supply chain. There is a supply chain in terms of the rare earth element which are used in the electronic industry. And China is a very big supplier of all the different kinds of metals and ores to rest of the world. There are so many other countries who do not have any supply of metals locally, and they are forced to buy ores. And some countries actually don't have even the refining facility, they actually buy the ready-made products. Even that is being provided by countries like China and India, including United States. And now the tariffs are going up, especially the Chinese will metals will be much more expensive now. So metals will get affected in a big way, and metals is used everywhere. I mean, if you look at the metals, they are used everywhere. They are consumed by everyone. I mean, you can for one moment you can say cars. Okay, very expensive cars are not used by masses, but then metals are used by everybody. And what is the other thing? Electrical appliances, things like generators. There are very large companies like Cumin, American companies. They are supplying electrical technology, not electronics, electrical technologies to lot of countries. And those products, large generators, turbines, those products will actually become more expensive. So I think these are big industries which are going to be affected. And also chemical industries, because chemical industries, in the chemical industry there is a formula. Each chemical has a formula, and most of the times these formulas are patented. That means you cannot copy those formulas, and therefore the chemical industry is heavily patented, and import and export of these chemicals between US, Canada, China, Mexico is going to increase, put extra burden on the supply lines. The supply lines are very, very specific. There are distributors, there is a complete chain of business people. There are stockists, there are suppliers, there are retailers, there are shipping companies. And if things are much more expensive, all other costs, associated costs will also go up. So what you can expect because of this tariff? Because as of today, the tariffs are on. The tariffs have become reality. Price rise. The immediate impact will be the price rise. Price will increase for a lot of commodities. Even though these are some of the things that I mentioned today, but the pricing of these commodities will impact the other commodities, and therefore in general there is going to be a little bit of price rise. Remember, $247 billion per year is extra that needs to be paid to United States because US has increased those tariffs. And supply chain, the cost of supply chain will also go up, because if the commodities prices are going up, the cost of supply chain will also increase. So all of these things is going to happen. And lastly, will it affect rest of the world? Definitely, it will definitely affect rest of the world. Even though the tariffs right now are imposed on 3 countries, but it's a very big signal. And none of us live in a isolated island. We are all dependent on each other. There are either give or take, buying and selling happening across the world. Even if you're sitting in one corner of the world, you would need something that you use. Simple thing like mobile phone, which you may need to import. And therefore, because of this tariff, everybody will feel the heat. Whichever country you are in, everybody will feel that the things are getting much more expensive, and one thing is always linked to the other. Therefore things are going to go get little more expensive. So friends, this is something which I wanted to share with you. I would like to know what you think. Do you have a thought? Do you have any comments? Feel free to send it across. Catch you again in the next one.